Veterans, I have a hot topic for you today. The VA's union has been terminated. Yes, the VA has a union, and guess what? Weeks ago, terminated. The union is no more. So, important question now, how is that going to affect the VA, and will they have an impact on your VA compensation claim? As a former VA rater that knows about the VA union, I'm going to explain in today's video. Make sure you stick around. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne. I got a video for that. Kimball, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. Before we get going, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. Also, don't forget to click the link in the description section and get signed up for my upcoming webinar where I explain what it is I do, what I don't do, and how you can work with me on making sure you're educated on the VA claims process. So, the VA's union has been terminated. I don't know if this came out of left field, but I was talking to someone. They said, hey, Dwayne, did you know the VA's union has been terminated? Now, they're in a legal battle now. They're suing, the union is suing the VA, but this battle is nothing new. This is the first time, to my knowledge, that I ever known the VA union to get terminated, okay? But when you work for the VA, just ask the VA employees, say, hey, that union president at your location, those union stewards, how do they get along with management? It is not a good relationship, trust me. So I have some notes here, so you'll see me looking down. I had to write some notes because I wanted to make sure I stayed on track with this video, okay? So what's going on? Can it impact your claim? Number one, low morale. I don't know about other regional offices. I worked at the St. Petersburg regional office, and I would say majority employees had low morale because the relationship with your coach, supervisors, management, it wasn't a good one, especially the union. You would see emails. I mean, it was like shots fired, okay? It was not a good relationship. I think the union did some pretty good things, you know, as it pertains to helping people keep their job that should have kept their job, okay? But the powers would be that was trying to get rid of them, you know, the union had to come in. Now that layer of protection is no longer there, right? Two, this has made it easier for VA employees to be fired for whatever reason, okay? So I did some videos earlier this year where the government was trying to, you know, trim some fat, reduce a lot of the workforce within the VA. This is how they're going to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised those numbers that they were trying to hit, that they didn't hit due to, you know, people being able to retire early, maybe they didn't reach their numbers. This is how they're going to reach those numbers. Because now, let's just say somebody in management, they don't like you for whatever reason, they can find a way to get rid of you, and you have no recourse. Now, if you are a VA employee, this is what you do. You contact Star Right Insurance. I think it's STARWRIGHT. It's federal insurance. Make sure you get it. So if something happens, you have something there that maybe you can get some legal advice or something, or representation to try to get your job back, okay? But we all know things with the federal government, it takes time, all right? So there could be a way for you to save some money if you have to go get a lawyer, but make sure you contact them. This is a different organization outside of the VA. I had it. I paid for it for 2 years. Never had to use it. Never had to use it, but I knew people that got fired and didn't have it, okay? You don't want to be that VA employee, all right? Because I've seen veterans on PIPs, not veterans. Well, some of them were veterans, they were VA employees. on PIPs, process, performance improvement programs. I'm about to say process improvement. PIPs, performance improvement programs. Some of them, yeah, I was like, yeah, I can see them being on a PIP. Other ones, I was like, wait a minute, you on a PIP for what? And some of them were on PIPs for, hey, I don't rush these claims. I take my time to make sure that we have everything to try and service connect the vet, okay? But they weren't moving fast enough for management, okay? It happens, okay? Keep in mind, VA employees on quotas. I can remember my quality standard had to be like 98.5 or 98.9%. And what that means is, let's say I got an error. I assigned the effective date. I assigned the effective date for the intent to file, and it should have been the effective date for date of claim, the date the VA received that 526CZ. That one error dropped me below my quality for that month. Okay? Now, if I made one mistake a month, at the end of the year, I'm screwed. Because my quality for that year is below, like it could be 0.5% below. They don't care. They could turn around and say, you know what, we could put you on a PIP, but we're going to fire you. We're going to get rid of you. You're still operating at a high level. They could do that. It just depends on the management. Now, that never happened to me, but I've seen it happen to other VA employees, okay? So just make sure, you've heard me talk about do the intent to file, make sure you get all your evidence, submit it to the VA. Don't submit a ton of information, okay? But again, at the end of the day, it's your claim. If you want to do that, fine. Put that VA employee in a position to help your claim to be successful. Now, I know you're going to say, Dwayne, they just deny. Are there some VA employees that don't follow regulations? Yes. But the majority of them, I feel strongly that they do, and eventually it's going to land on one of those individuals' desks, okay? So move right along. Number 3, it's going to make it harder for VA employees to work from home. Now, when the new administration came on board and they were like, hey, we're making VA employees come back in the office, people were like, yeah, make them go back in the office. I worked from home for 5 years, okay? The first year, I think I had to go in the office like twice a week. And then the next next year I had to go in one time a week. Then my last 2 years at the VA, I was working from home full time. I was like, I don't want to see anybody on my team, and I definitely don't want to see anybody in management. We were just butting heads, okay? And so I decided to work from home. But guess what, people? I was more productive from home. I had extra time to look at the M21-1, the 38 CFR, to service connect that vet. I had the time. When I was in the office, I just felt rushed. There was a lot of distractions. At home, I make my lunch that morning, put it in the refrigerator, heat it up if I had to. While I'm sitting at my desk, working a claim, I'm eating. If I'm in the office, I'm going downstairs, get something to eat. I may go across the street and get something to eat, go over to the main hospital, to their cafeteria because it was bigger, to get something to eat. Now I'm distracted. Then I got to sit back down and, okay, where did I leave off? And I didn't have all those distractions. And it was proven. When I looked at my production and my quality, it was better when I worked from home. Now, you may say, Dwayne, what does it got to do with the union? Well, when I tried to work from home full time, there was an AVSM, AVC, whatever they call them, Assistant Veteran Service Center Manager. She was, you know what, I don't want to be disrespectful. She was not nice. She was not nice, and I didn't feel that she was nice, and I didn't feel that she was a people's person. And I submitted my application, and they're not supposed to ask you what's your medical reason to work from home. And she would ask these little questions. I kept saying, you're not supposed to ask me that. Well, I'm not. I'm like, you are. She denied it. So I go down to the union and I talk to the union steward. He's like, man, I wish you would have came to us first. Have your doctor sign this form. We've already typed it up, and I read it. I'm like, yep, I agree with it. Got in the car, went over to my doctor's office, signed it, brought it back, gave it to him. He sent an email to her that day. Mr. Kimball would no longer be reporting in the office. It was nothing that she can do. Okay? And was she hot? Yeah, she was hot. That gentleman actually testified before Congress and was telling some things that were going on that management wasn't doing. He later on got fired. The union president, they reassigned her. She was the one that sent out an email, said, hey, you all need to get this Star Rate insurance because things are looking really bad. They're doing this, they're not, it was just all this back and forth. And at the same time, you had to rate these cases, okay? So that was a distraction in itself. It was like, football player trying to get this new contract and they're all on ESPN talking about it. And is this a distraction in the locker room? Similar to that, but we weren't getting these big contracts, okay? All right. So I talked about my time working from home and what I went through. It was a lot more. I just gave you all the Cliff Notes. Now, how can this impact your claim? I watched a video where the VA secretary was testifying before Congress, and he stated there was over 450,000 VA employees. Over 400,000 of those worked under VHA, Veterans Healthcare Administration. The rest worked under NCA, National Cemetery Administration, and VBA, Veterans Benefit Administration, and compensation falls under that. So how can this impact you? Obviously, on the healthcare side, if that number goes down, let's say 100,000, longer wait times, they may have to be trying to do more with community care. Who knows? On the compensation side, now the secretary said that they weren't going to cut any of those. Time will tell, okay? They may not fall under a cut, but they may say, hey, we fired them because of PIP. They were on a PIP. They weren't performing, right? If they start doing that, you're going to see longer wait times. And this is just my opinion, you're going to see more errors. How do you know the error? How many people, raise your hand, you did a high-level review and they said, oh, we found a DTA error. DTA error. You hear that a lot. I see it in my comments, DTA error. Okay? That tells me these VA employees are rushing. Why are they rushing? They got to make that quota. So you, the veteran, what can you do? And you've heard me say this before, and I'm going to say it again. Get all your evidence yourself. A lot of veterans like to send in 1,000, 2,000. Oh, they got to look through all that. You're putting that VA employee in a position not to be successful. Okay? Make sure you have a fully developed claim. What do I mean by that? Intent to file. 800-827-1000, do intent to file. Figure out what conditions you want to claim. Where do they fall under the different ways of service connection? Get all the evidence as it pertains to the regulation for maybe pre-service aggravation, direct service connection, secondary increase, or whatever, presumptive, whatever way you're filing that claim, make sure your evidence is tracking with that criteria and it meets it. Also, the evidence should show, okay, you deserve 0%, 10%, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100%, whatever it is, get all of it. Button it up. Make sure all your T's are crossed and I's are dotted. You're putting that VA employee in a position to be successful when that claim lands on their desk. Hopefully, if you put them in a position to be successful, you're going to be successful with your claim. That's, in my opinion, that's what I think you can do. With that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and as always, share this video with your fellow veteran. Thank you.